What's up, Degenerate Nation? Welcome to the Big Bets on Campus podcast presented by Draftkings. This is the Week 14 college football betting preview. I'm Stuckey, and joining me, as always, my fellow BBOC co-host, Collin Wilson. Collin, what's going on, brother? You might have to carry this show. I have bronchitis and the flu. It's miserable. I've made it through this day, getting all NFL and college, about to get the college stuff out.
You look miserable through the camera, so I think I'll do my best to pick up wherever you don't want to talk. Bronchitis is the worst, man. And the thing is like
the
I think
chest pain is on. I have the chills too. I have the flu.
Got an elephant sitting on you.
Also,
chills, and it's feast week. And the thing is you and I talk about this, like, man, football season. It's like you ignore your diet, like your sleep gets bad, and then you get sick. Usually it's like week 8, so it all just
I get sick once a year. I'm not surprised. I had to go. I recorded Sunday morning. I had to go take a red eye. Didn't sleep Saturday on my sleep night, and then been up for the past 2 nights, and obviously caught something. Immune system was down. Getting too old to be like that. But you can carry the show anyway. I'm on every couple of years I have a cold streak where bad calls, and then just you run like a peasant. It's inevitable on like 4th downs and kicks and 2-point conversions. I think that's where I'm at now. But there's always the next week. I just dipped my toe in the UMass water today.
Oh, my gosh. Analyst.
I mean, they actually played well. They went 0 of 3 on 4th and 1s and gave Bowling Green 3 short field touchdowns, which was unfortunate. They also lost a fumble at their own 10. But they were moving the ball. And Bowling Green started to nage him, who can't throw the ball. He had like a 90-yard screen pass. But, another loser. So hopefully can find some winners this week. By the way, if you're using Twitter, be sure to use @Playbook, the new betting bot from Action. Turn your screenshot into a bet slip. Just follow @Playbook on Twitter for more info. We'll also have a quick slip link in the video and podcast description where you can find and tail some of the bets we discussed in today's episode, or you can visit actionnetwork.com/bet now. Also, quick self-promotion. I'm the new co-host of the Favorites podcast, which has returned with a new lineup. Episodes Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays with myself, Kendra Middleton, and Brandon Kravitz. Bet stories, all sorts of fun stuff. Evan Abrams in there as well. Centered around the NFL. We were talking some overrated, underrated Thanksgiving food today. And before we really get started, I'll throw it to myself for a quick word from DraftKings. The Big Bets on Campus podcast is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. And in partnership with DraftKings, our listeners get a great offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has you covered. Bet live on star player props and in-progress games right as they happen. To get started, use promo code BBOC when signing up with DraftKings. Again, that's code BBOC when signing up with DraftKings for 3 months of NBA League Pass and $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours. All right, let's just hit as many games as possible. One of the reasons I did get bronchitis, I went through every single one of these games, so can talk to any of them. Let's start on Friday. We'll go through Friday's card, pick and choose what we want to talk about. I guess we can start with Georgia Tech. Georgia, it's his neutral field in Atlanta. Georgia, 14-point favorites in some spots, 13.5 juiced at DraftKings. Total 59.5. Part of me wants to buy some Georgia Tech here at a price of 2 touchdowns. I'm pretty close numbers wise, but also I should mention, by the way, that UMass game is a perfect example of you just have to accept this. Week 14, you're just going to have weird things happen with like the bad teams. Like UMass just decided to start going for it on 4th and 1 in their own territory instead of using their best player, which is their punter. But it's the last game for some of these teams, so you're going to get some YOLO stuff.
Beware of totals that are sitting at 44. Is that what you're trying to say when you're going for a 4th and 1 your own field?
Yeah. But you're gonna have that, and hopefully those 4th downs and the YOLO stuff goes your way. Because if not, you're cooked. But is what it is. The stuff usually evens out over time. But Georgia, 14-point favorites here. They do not control their own. I mean, they're done with their SEC schedule. But this is a rivalry game. Last year was a thriller. I'm kind of close to the number, but part of me wants to buy Georgia Tech just because they profile such a great underdog, right? They're basically like a service academy in the way that they play. They want to control the clock. They have a unique running game. Georgia shouldn't get much pressure. Haynes King will probably make things happen. I assume that they're going to have a good script here. And Georgia usually against any competent team gets behind, so it could set up an opportunity to bet Georgia live. The problem is number one, Georgia can stop the run, which then becomes pretty detrimental to Georgia Tech's offense. We saw that last week with Pitt, who's also very good against the run. And the Georgia Tech defense is really bad this year. I mean, they are way down. And if you break down this Georgia Tech resume, I mean, they were in position to go to the College Football Playoff, win out prior to losing to Pitt. I mean, they barely beat BC. They get blown out at NC State. Beat Syracuse, Duke, Virginia Tech, Wake in overtime, Temple, Clemson by a field goal, Gardner-Webb in Colorado. Like the actual body of work, if you break it down, was not that impressive, and they were able to hide some of the warts that they have on defense. What are you seeing here?
14 I thought was the perfect number. I took it on open when really the plan here is to play on Georgia and what they do with game script like we do all the time, which is fade them in the first quarter, take them somewhere around the second quarter. Massive difference in middle eight here between these two teams, between Brent Key and Kirby Smart. I think it's worth noting that Georgia Tech has led in the first quarter of this series the past 3 years when Key and Kirby Smart have gone up against each other. But Stuck, you're exactly right about the difference between last year's Georgia defense and this year's Georgia defense. Last year's Georgia defense could not stop the run. That allowed Georgia Tech to go up and down the field. It's different this year. This Georgia defense can't stop the pass. They're very good against the run. And when you look at Haynes King and Justice Haynes, are running power and counter concepts. The Georgia defense mid-FBS against those concepts, but they're 14th overall in defensive success rate against the rush. So you think they're going to have some success here. They don't allow broken tackles, they're top 15. They don't allow explosives, they're top 10. I'm not expecting a lot out of this Georgia Tech rush unit that is really their primary way of moving the ball. But the pass D has been so leaky for Georgia. They have no pass rush. Are they going to allow King to pick up first downs and scramble attempts? Georgia Tech
do a good job of preventing explosives overall, but that's not. I mean, can Haynes King march him down the field through the air? That's the question.
Yeah. Another problem that I have with Georgia Tech, and I've seen this for a couple of weeks, they are probably the most conservative red zone offense in the nation. Georgia Tech right now is sitting top 10 in red zone scoring, but they're 90th in red zone TD scoring. They're settling for way too many field goals. To go from 10th in scoring to 90th in touchdown red zone touchdowns, not good. So, for me, I think you could take Georgia Tech plus 14, but you need to get ready to bet Georgia live probably at the beginning of the second quarter. I think there needs to be some rushing props for Georgia, whether that's Nate Frazier or Gunnar Stockton for an anytime TD, because this Georgia Tech defense is horrific against the run. They're 120th in havoc, and they're 115th in tackling. I think Georgia's going to have maybe the scripted part of Bobo doesn't go so well, but at some point, I don't see anything stopping them from getting down the field and scoring. So I took plus 14. I'm going to buy off somewhere after the end of the first quarter.
All right, let's talk a little Egg Bowl. Do you want to go head to head here? I can do it at 7.
You're going to take Cowbell?
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
11-8 me, 19-15 overall. I like Miss State. There's some juice 7.5. That's what I would look for out there. At DraftKings right now, it's 7 flat. I make the number 6.8, so it's not a huge edge, but not really going to find huge edges this time of the year. I think Mississippi State number 1 needed the bye as much as any team, similar to Vandy, right? They go through these brutal SEC schedules. They don't have the bodies that Georgia and Alabama do. You saw how rejuvenated Vandy looked. I think you could see a similar thing with Mississippi State, and it looks like Thompson, their leading receivers, back. Isaac Smith, their safety, I believe he might be back as well. This is as healthy as they've been in quite a while. Look, the Mississippi State offense, the Levy offense operates best when it can run the ball, and I think they'll be able to do that here. Now, the defense isn't any good, but you got to remember, this is a team that should have beat Tennessee at home. They should have beat Texas at home. And then where I think there could be some edge in this with some potential upside, I mean, obviously it's a rivalry game. Mississippi State playing for a bowl. You're going to get their best effort. You're going to get at the kitchen sink. How focused is Ole Miss? I mean, Kiffin, it seems like he's gone, and he's going to be announced on Friday. How focused has he been? How many times have we seen a Lane Kiffin team in this spot completely flop? I think Mississippi State's super live here. It'll be a fun game. Noon Eastern on Friday. It's sad this isn't in the old time slot at night on Thanksgiving. But, yeah, I'll take the points with Mississippi State. I mean, look, you can tell me all about their run D against Lacey, and it's all fair. But where is Ole Miss mentally, and are they going to be prepared fully for this game? And I do think Mississippi State can move the ball on the ground, which is how their entire offense then branches out from there. When they can't really run it, it really bogs everything down. So, yeah, I like Cowbell at home. Make your case for Ole Miss.
I mean, look, first off, this number should be above a touchdown. I get it that the Lane narrative is probably what's bugging this down, because there's nothing in the numbers and the analytics up against each other that says that this number should be this low. Listen, there's still plenty on the line, and we don't know what Lane Kiffin is telling his players, right? If you're taking the LSU or the Florida job, you're not going into the locker room and coaching and telling everybody, yeah, this is my swan song, I'm leaving. Like, that's obviously not what's happening here. He may have made a decision, but there's no way he's telling the locker room. I feel like they'll be the last ones to figure it out. He's got to keep them motivated because, I mean, they're playoff bound and they have plenty to play for here. I mean, they could still go to the SEC championship game. A lot has to happen. A lot of losses have to happen, but this is the Egg Bowl, and, the teams that they need to lose play the next day. So, for me, Trinidad Chambliss.
Bulldogs.
Trinidad Chambliss has a 14-3 TD to INT ratio. He's doubled his big-time throw to turnover-worthy play rate. And I think they've been holding him back from a designed rush attempts. Now, he's had just 7 designed rush attempts the last 2 games against Florida and the Citadel. He had 16 in the previous 2 games against OU and South Carolina. So I don't know what they're holding that back for. Mississippi State has struggled in the defensive trench. You and I have talked about that. Their line yards and EPA allowed on the ground are bottom 15 in the nation. They're facing an Ole Miss man blocking concept that favors the Rebels. Mississippi State's 39% against man gap blocking. It's not good. And, the defense for Pete Golding, I'm really surprised about how great it's been after they paid for that havoc defense last year. They're going to need this defense, particularly against inside zone of Davin Booth and Fluff Baldwell. There's just more efficiency. There's more chance of nothing being broken from broken tackles and missed tackles. Levy has not created a methodical offense yet. It's more about explosives, and they're just not going to be able to pull that off against this Ole Miss D. So I'll go head-to-head with you. But I don't see that playing a factor here, because you're still telling your team, I'm your man. There's no way that information's leaked to
you don't know. I'm just saying there's upside with Mississippi State because of it. Like, if everything's status quo, then whatever. It is what it is. But it's not like we've seen a Lane team not be focused before in general. And now, I mean, he's spent the last week negotiating a $100 million contract. We'll see. Rivalry game catching over a touchdown. I'm taking it here. Mississippi State should be refreshed, rejuvenated, and much healthier. They really needed the bye week. More so than, similar to Vandy, as I mentioned earlier. Ohio in the MAC, 7.5-point favorite at Buffalo. I mean, I think that number is too high, but I mean, Ohio's been very fortunate in a number of games. Their defense is bad, but Buffalo's been a disaster. I mean, Roberson's been bad. They should have lost to UMass. They should have lost to Kent. They should have lost to Akron. Over a touchdown would lean Buffalo in the number, but not sure I want to get involved there. Also early, you got Iowa, Nebraska. You like Iowa, should be able to run all over Nebraska. Is that the cap there?
Yeah, that's the handicap there. Nebraska does not have any kind of rush D whatsoever. That's different than what Iowa has, and they should be able to do that against Nebraska's new quarterback. But I don't see any resistance for Gronowski whatsoever. So, I loved Iowa on the open. I thought the number was wrong at 4.5. I make it more like 7. We're approaching that. I would still play Iowa at 6.
Anything Utah, Kansas? Utah 11-point favorite on the road at Kansas. Kansas has been disappointing. The Utah defense obviously was disappointing last week. Anything there?
No, I mean, I have the number at 11, so I would think at 12.5, I would probably start to look at Kansas, but don't they look like a corpse? Have they given up on the season? Plus, their defensive finishing drives, bottom 10 in the nation versus Utah, that's second offensively, and in points per possession across the 40. I don't see anything analytically that says that Kansas is going to be able to hold on here, but at the same time, I make it 11. So it's a little bit oversold, but I think Kansas is dead in the water.
Here's one I like that might not be popular. It's scary going up against Kenny, but I like Arizona on the road at Arizona State. Look, I don't think we're talking enough about how good Arizona has been. I mean, their defense has been incredible. Their offense is on fire. They should have beat BYU earlier this year. I mean, they easily could have won at Houston, a team that won't beat Arizona State, and they'd be right in this discussion for a Big 12 championship. This team is rolling on all cylinders. Now, their special teams is bad, but Arizona State's special teams are worse. I mean, the worst in the country, which kind of, helps wash out that usual disadvantage. But Arizona has one of the few corners in the Big 12, maybe a handful in the country, that can match up with Tyson. This is still Jeff Sims. It's a one-dimensional defense. And look, a one-dimensional offense. Arizona State, give credit to Dillingham. They went to Iowa State, broke out Jeff Sims just running the ball 30 times. But since then, they barely survived West Virginia at home. I mean, Scotty Fox ripped them apart. And then they beat a corpse and banged-up Colorado team. I think this is a different step in class. This is where they're going to miss Sam Levitt. They're going to miss their one of their best offensive linemen that's out for the year. I like Arizona on the road, anything under a field goal.
Yeah, I like Arizona too. I think what scares me is that the Arizona defense is 43% success rate against man, and that's what Raleek Brown runs. He's 3.4 yards after first contact, 1,000 yards on the season, and Kenny loves to line up in 12 personnel and let Raleek Brown run. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to win this game. I mean, the best part of the Arizona defense is the pass. So if Arizona State doesn't get it done on the ground, then I think they're going to be pretty much stopped in the water. Now, Fafita's been okay with his passing, but the rush explosives from Ishmael Mahdi has been fantastic. And Arizona State, 127th in broken and missed tackles allowed. So I like Arizona too.
Put it on the board?
Yeah, let's put it on the board.
Arizona on the board. We are 59-43 in one lifetime on agree, 57.8%. What else we got here? I mean, was Air Force, Colorado State. I mean, I don't know who's playing Colorado State quarterback. Curry got suspended. They were like spitting on players. Who knows what's going on with Colorado State? Air Force down to their third string quarterback. I don't know. Air Force's defense has been a little better. A little better. Still not great, but if you look over the past few weeks, like look what they did to UConn. And their offense they can't throw the ball.
Yeah.
Which is why their unders have been getting hit and cashing over the past few weeks at above 45 or 45. I mean, that's the only way I could look. But who knows? I mean, I don't even know who's playing quarterback for Colorado State. Air Force also might go to Johnson Moore. They brought him in last week at quarterback. It's a mess. That game, what a disaster.
I also like San Diego State on Thursday, too, against New Mexico. Like
head-to-head.
Oh, here we go. Let's put it on the board. Yeah, I mean, -1, no big deal. But this is a big game for both of these teams. In New Mexico, their offense is all about creating explosive runs with DJ McKinney and Damon Bankston using zone read. And those two guys have forced 27 missed tackles. They've created 17 explosives. But the problem is the Aztecs have been one of the best defenses in the G5. They're the best in the nation in defensive quality drives, and they're 61% against inside zone and 66% against outside zone. New Mexico's entire offense with Jason Eck, a former offensive line coach and offensive lineman, is all about inside-outside zone. And San Diego State is fantastic against that run concept. So, and then you go to the other side of the ball. New Mexico can't defend the pass, and they can't generate a pass rush, so Denegal is going to have all day to improve his accuracy. So
I completely disagree, and here's why. San Diego State, by the way, yes, I think their defense is legit. I think one of the most underrated players that who's going to play at the next level, Chris Johnson at cornerback. You haven't watched him; he's fantastic for San Diego State. But here's the thing: San Diego State's defense, I think, is overrated in general. They're good; they're really good for Group 5. Here's who they've played.
Yeah, it's bad
since September. That's 27. Northern Illinois, they won 6-3. Northern Illinois can't score in the MAC. Colorado State, Nevada, Fresno State with the new quarterback who's now, it was his first start. He's since been benched. Wyoming. I mean, Wyoming can't score on Nevada at home. Then they get crushed at Hawaii. Hawaii put up 38, won 38-6 against them. Boise with Boise's backup quarterback who can't throw the ball. And then San Jose State, who puts in their backup who can't throw the ball. So Yeah, they've played one of the easiest schedules of opposing defenses in the country. And here's the thing. You mentioned the pass. New Mexico's run D is legit, right? You look at their run defensive metrics, they can stop the run. They're vulnerable. One of the reasons I liked them against Air Force last week is because Air Force can't throw it without Zarka. Well, here's the thing. San Diego State's passing attack is now dust. Napier's out for the year. And that kills them. He was their explosive weapon.
Mm-hmm.
They also have, who else? Bostic is out for the year. They have 2 starting wide receivers out for the year. They have a walk-on starting now. So you want to look at what Denegal has done? Let's take a look at the past few games. Against San Jose State's stingy pass D, 8 of 16 for 80 yards. Against Boise, 6 of 10 for 17 yards. Against Hawaii, who we just saw UNLV light up, 10 of 27 for 130. I mean, the passing attack is toast. So I don't think they can take advantage. I trust Eck to scheme up enough offense in a low-scoring game at home. Huge game. One of the biggest home games for New Mexico in quite some time. I like the Lobos and Eck. Head-to-head.
Can't leave.
I might take Purdue on the number.
Oh, my gosh.
I make it under 28. It'll be a small bet. Here's the thing. Cignetti's starting to talk smarter.
Right.
His quotes about, like, we got to stay healthy. It's about, and now it looks like Surratt and Kamara will play, but he's had some quotes this week where he's starting to think about the longer term. So I don't think he's all about, like, last year. Like, and Purdue is exponentially better this year than last. I don't think he's just like, all right, we need to win this game 55-0. So I make it under I make it under 28. So I got to look at 29. Where do you have it?
It's funny that, I mean, it's like I saw this game and I didn't want to have anything to do with it. 25.7. So I'm there.
25.9.
Yeah. So look, I don't think he's going to try to run it up, but I think they could accidentally cover. That's how bad Purdue is.
I mean, Purdue covered 28.5 against Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State's 5.5 on. I mean, I get Ohio State's slower.
I guess they might be 2-point conversions.
Here's the last one we'll talk about on Friday. Temple, North Texas. I might have to play Temple. I want a 21. 20.5 I might get involved with. Now, North Texas, they just announced that Morris is going to Oklahoma State.
Right.
I don't think that that'll impact the team, but maybe it's a distraction. He's going to stay with the team to the end of the year. Here's where there's maybe some hidden edge. Temple, who's going to be up for this game. All the pressure's on North Texas. Now, Temple needs to win to get to a bowl. Temple's offense, they have a former offense coordinator from Montana State. It operates best when it can run the ball. Evan Simon's been great. They should be able to run the ball in North Texas, control the clock a little bit more, because everyone can run on North Texas. North Texas's defense under Skylar Cassidy, it's more of a positionless brand 4-2-5. They really try to create havoc and turnovers. Not great at stopping the run. Been very good against the pass, but Simon takes good care of the ball. And where I think there might be a little hidden advantage here for for Temple, is now we don't know if North Texas wants to run it up, right? Like, do they want the style points? We saw Tulane throwing against Temple like until the very end with Retzlaff. But Casey Keeler, the head coach for Temple, was the head coach at Sam Houston State. His defensive coordinator was Cassidy, who's now at North Texas. Keeler knows this defense like the back of his hand. Now, that's not the same for Cassidy, because this is a brand new Temple offense. It's the Montana State offense. So I think that Keeler, who's a really good coach, knowing the North Texas defense, I think might give them a little bit of advantage. I mean, this Temple team, this line is assuming that they're like completely incompetent. I know they got blown out last week, but this is a team that should have beat Navy, easily could have beat Army, beat UTSA, went to Georgia Tech and lost by 21. Now, North Texas, they can score in a hurry, and it's a little scary, but I might look at Temple here on the spot.
I think you're going to want to grab it. I don't think it's done steaming. I'm pretty sure this is going to get up to 20.5 or 21 by the time we get to game.
Yeah, there's some 20.5s out there now. Draftkings 19.5. I want to wait for 21. The problem is I'm sick and need to go to bed for about 30 hours, so I'm not going to watch the board.
I have worries about, you know what? I think maybe the better bet might be the Temple team total over if you think that they can cover and get up there, because this Temple defense.
Yeah, they can't stop the spread attacks. Like if you look at what happened against Tulane and ECU,
Yeah,
they're much better equipped to stop like the service academies, the running teams.
Yeah, it's pretty god awful. But you know what? They do have a better offensive momentum killer rate than North Texas, which is saying something because they're both Big Ten. I'm sorry, they're both top 10 in offensive momentum killer, which means they create methodicals. They don't interrupt themselves. They don't make mistakes. Plus,
Simon doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't turn it over.
Temple's 11th in offensive finishing drives. I hope they make a bowl. They'd be a play-on team.
Yeah, I'll definitely look at Temple. All right, moving on to Saturday.
You gonna do Texas A&M though?
I missed Texas A&M. Texas A&M 2.5-point favorite at Texas. I think Texas, if they win, they're still out. But
yeah,
you never know. One of the things I worry about. We'll talk Iron Bowl. How many calls is Alabama getting this weekend? And it's Auburn. How many calls are going to go against Auburn? You can see it now.
It's the perfect scenario, isn't it?
I know. It's unbelievable. Because Alabama's winning in. Although maybe, because if they win, they go to the SEC Championship, and they would face Georgia. I mean, they would face A&M if A&M wins. If A&M loses, they would face Georgia. If Alabama loses a third time to an SEC champion, I still think they're in. But they lose this game, I think they're out. But Texas A&M, 2.5-point favorite here, total 51.5. I think the Texas offense has figured some things out. Now, you can question the competition, but they made some tweaks along the offensive line. Arch looks more confident. His mechanics look better. I think Texas nips Texas A&M. How focused is A&M going to be? Do they want? I know that they want to win. It's a rivalry game. They're going to show up, but like, are they looking ahead already?
Right.
We saw that against. I mean, they didn't come out against South Carolina ready to play. Maybe Elko gets their attention. He always talks about how they're a second half team. Maybe this is a Texas first half look. I'm going to be on Texas in some form or fashion. What are you seeing here?
I think that's a better call than the full game. I don't know when Texas A&M wakes up, but Little Brother has not won this game since 2010. I mean, there should be plenty of motivation in these guys.
Yeah, they're going to be. They care. It's just like, is there a slow start, like mentally, that Texas comes out with their hair on fire and jumps on them a bit?
To play devil's advocate, because I do like Texas in this game. The spot calls for them, the motivation calls for them. The number I make 1.5, so even at 2.5, I think it's a good buy on Texas. But
yeah, I'm at 1.
Texas has been vulnerable in the secondary, and that makes me nervous for when Reed is hitting Craver, Concepcion, and Ashton Bethel Roman. You look at Georgia; they had a 55% success rate and 31 pass attempts against Texas. They just destroyed them through the air. 5 explosives, 7.3 yards per play. And the Horns are 79th in defending pass EPA. So if Texas A&M wants to have some explosives here, you would think they're going to be able to get it. Now, I did go into routes, and I wanted to get into, I've really been focusing on why Casey Concepcion is, he does a lot of crossers. Mario Craver, he does a lot of wide receiver screens. When you look at Texas and how they defend those, they are fantastic against crossers and wide receiver screens. What they're really bad at is defending the hitch, which is something Casey Concepcion is one of the best in the nation, stopping on a dime, turning around, getting the ball, and taking off. So I do like Casey Concepcion props here, either a yardage or an anytime TD. But on the other side of the ball, you're right, Arch Manning has been better. Elko's 4.25. They're just...
You can finish drives against them, which I think is also key, right? Because Texas has struggled in that department, but Texas A&M's defense also has what gives.
Very leaky. Very leaky. They're 104th in defensive finishing drives. They're defensively 135th in giving up rush explosives. I don't expect Texas to create rush explosives, but
they're not strong in that department. That's one of the things that worries me. But maybe they can hit some here.
Yeah, and then the fundamentals here of tackling could be really important at the second level, which completely favors Texas in this. They're 12th in the nation PFF tackling to Texas A&M, who's 84th. And then you go to broken tackles allowed, a stat that is put out by Sports Info Solutions, and like Texas A&M's 109th in broken tackles allowed. Like, it's just, if Texas gets to the second level, they're going to be able to juke people out of their shoes in that back end. That's going to be a Texas A&M problem from here on out. They're going to have to outscore everybody to win the national title. So again, I think Texas A&M can put some hurdles in front of Collin Klein's playbook, especially with what he likes to call with wide receiver screens and crossers. Manning is going to see a lot of cover 3 here. He has been excellent against cover 3 all season. And DeAndre Moore is the one that's kind of undercut those cover 3s all season. He's at 2.2 yards per route run. So I like over 51.5. I like Texas in the points and take a Concepcion anytime TD.
All right, let's put Texas on the board.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things Texas has done, they have tweaked their offensive line and made some little changes there. Kyle Flood, very good offensive line coach, was getting a lot of heat earlier this season. But they've also started to get rid of the ball quicker, more screen game. They've done, and Arch has been better. Now, you could question the quality of competition because one of the things to watch here is Cassius Howe and company and that defensive line against the Texas offensive line. How much damage can they do? Should be a fun watch in a fun atmosphere on Friday night. Let's move on to Saturday. Florida State, Florida. Woof, this game. I can't remember a Florida State game with less juice. Well, maybe last year. I lean Florida State, but can you trust them on the road? I mean, Florida State small lean. I what a tough one to handicap. You got anything there?
I have nothing here. I didn't want to touch this one. I lean Florida State in the number in the market. It's a game that I make closer to a pick than I do the current market. So, actually, yeah. I think Florida State should be favored, but
I think Florida State should be favored too.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like coming out to admit that it's tough, but at the same time, watching this Florida team, it's like they don't have anything left at all. And I don't think they've changed the game plan since Billy Gonzalez.
But Florida State hasn't won a road game in years. Like they lost to Stanford. But I think both teams will get up for this. Although I don't know, Florida wasn't up, but I mean they hate. I don't know. What a tough game. Kentucky, Louisville. Speaking about tough games, Kentucky's injury list is long. Louisville, I mean, is Miller Moss going to play? Isaac Brown, who's the key to their offense, he's questionable. Chris Bell, their star receiver, is going to play in the NFL. He's not going to play. Colin Lacey, their other receiver, is questionable. Their other running backs, linebacker, who knows? If Louisville's gets a lot of these guys back, and Isaac Brown, I think they're cheap at home. But where are these teams at mentally? I don't know. I mean, but it's a heated rivalry in Kentucky. I think they'll both care, but two tough teams to crack right now.
I would most look at the under there. I'm not really sure what's going on with the Louisville offense. Hasn't been able to produce since they've had some losses. Kentucky is completely fine with playing teams 10-3. So
South Carolina, I love South Carolina here against Clemson. You want to go ahead, Dad?
You think I'm still on this Clemson train?
Are you on South Carolina with me? You want to make my case?
No, you go ahead.
So, number one, I think this line should be above a field goal, is where I have it. The strength of schedule disparity between these two teams is enormous. And if you look at some of the metrics for Clemson, it's pretty sad where they're at based on their schedule. And you might say, they came out of the bye and they're playing better. They beat Louisville because Louisville, who was playing with their most important player, missed a billion kicks. They were outgained in that game. They also beat Florida State. They're outgained by, 80 yards? They won on Florida State mistakes. This is a big, big step up in class. The defense has no identity. Lost another depth defensive lineman last week. The offensive line now is down 2 guards that got hurt in the Louisville game, one celebrating the win. They really miss Wesco. There's no running game to speak of whatsoever. Mm-hmm. South Carolina also have a special teams advantage. At home, this is their Super Bowl now. And I think when I look at these two teams, I think South Carolina has a slightly better defense adjusted for schedule. They have better special teams. Clemson has a slightly better offense for my numbers, but I think the South Carolina offense is like this right now. They changed offensive line coaches, and they're finally healthier. They're getting healthier. Clemson is not. And they changed play callers a couple games ago, and it looks completely different. I mean, you saw them put up 350 yards and 30 points in the first half at Texas A&M. You saw them last week in a very tough spot. I was really impressed. Like, they're still fighting. They're not going to a bowl. They came out and just blasted Coastal Carolina. But the offense, they're just getting the ball out quicker, players in space. They're using, Sellers looks more comfortable, rolling him out more. He looks like he's willing to just take off more. So, yeah, I think that Clemson's not going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be under pressure on the road. Yeah, I think this South Carolina offense is a little underrated right now after some of the changes they've made.
I make it 4.5, so I should join you because I think South Carolina should be favored by more. Really, this is about because South Carolina is not the kind of team that is a methodical success rate offense, and I didn't know how beat up Lenora Sellers was, but they are based on a top 20 rush EPA. Like they have to have rush explosives. Clemson sitting at 76th and defending that. So I think the one hangup why we're not gonna put it on the board as an agree is because Clemson is still top 10 in tackling and broken tackles missed.
Yeah, it's because they play in the ACC. You're afraid of Dabo. You want to hear something crazy? South Carolina last week played Coastal Carolina. It's the first time they played a game against a team not ranked in the top 15 since September. That's insane. All right, we won't put it on the board. Colin's afraid of Dabo. You want to talk the big game? Ohio State, Michigan, noon Eastern, or I should say 12:15 Eastern on Fox. Ohio State 10-point favorite at DraftKings. This line's floating around. Total is down to 44. We might have snow. This is the handicap for me. Are Tate and Smith playing?
Right.
That's it. I think that in this, especially if there's snow, like defending them and their cuts would be very difficult. I think in this matchup, Smith and Tate combined are worth 4 points to the spread.
Wow.
They're out. I mean, we saw it last week. They got announced out. The line went from 32.5 to 28.5. And now you're going up against a Michigan team in potential in weather. They have better linebackers that aren't. You can't just throw to Claire every time. And the Ohio State has talented receivers, but there is a pretty substantial drop off. You saw it last week against Rutgers. With their, Tate and Smith are the best wide receiver duo in the country. It makes everything so much easier for Michigan. It makes them, they can blitz more. They can sell out to stop the run. And Ohio State's running game has been meh. Bo Jackson has given them some juice, but there's still some questions on the right side of the offensive line. It is a different offense. Now they go very slow, but it's a different offense when Tate and Smith are in there. Obviously, Smith would have been the number one pick this year. Would have been last year. Will probably be next year. And Tate is a monster too. He's going to be a first-round draft pick. So yeah, they have talent behind them, but it's just not the same. I think it's massive. Now Underwood plays better at home. So if they don't play, I like the under 44.5.
Mm-hmm.
I like Michigan plus 10.5. If they do play, I would like to have Ohio State minus 9.5. So how is Ohio State going to approach this game? Michigan, they have bigger fish to fry, but it is their biggest rival, and they have lost them, and it's this big narrative, and then they tend to get tight in these games. But are they just going to say, look, we don't care? And by not care, I mean, they're still going to try, and they're going to have a good game plan in there. But you hold out Smith, and you hold out Tate because you say, I don't want to risk further injury for the bigger picture. Knowing you got a Big Ten championship game, or maybe you don't if you lose, and then the college football playoff. Interesting game. Michigan, I think, has to get off to a fast start. Underwood can make all the throws. He also, he doesn't have great receivers. If Tate and Smith don't play, and the Ohio State does the best defense in the country, I think this turns into a rock fight. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think if Jeremiah Smith is playing and Carnell Tate are playing, it completely separates Ohio State because those are two pieces that they're going to need against this Michigan defense. I think the more key player that could be injured here and not playing is actually linebacker Ernest Hausman. Listed as questionable for this game. He's the leading tackler. He's third on the Michigan defense in pressures. If he's not playing, it completely changes the dynamic of this rush defense and in coverage.
It does look like Jordan Marshall's going to go, for what it's worth.
Yeah, he's going to be there. And I've done enough digging with some sources that it looks like Jeremiah Smith is going to play. They're just not officially calling it, but Carnell Tate is a true questionable decision. It's Tuesday.
I've seen some sources say that both are going to play. I've seen some people say both are going to play.
Yeah.
Is that games or...
It's Tuesday. We usually get availability reports on Wednesday. We do our pod on Thursday, so we'll see. But that's what I'm hearing. This Bryson Kudzol kid, he's been really great running man and gap blocking, and not really so much in zone read, but he's kind of been a nice pickup as a third string running back to start the season. But, Kudzall has been taking handoffs, gap blocking assignments. And my question is have they held zone read with Underwood and Kudzall off tape just for this game? Ohio State struggles against outside zone with a light box. So if Sharon Moore has kind of figured that out, like Ohio State is exceptionally good against almost every run concept except outside zone with light boxes. If you can run outside zone away from edge Caden Curry, because for Ohio State, he is one of the best rush defenders of any edge player in the Big Ten. If you can run away from him, you possibly could have some success. But look, if Ohio State gets their guys back, Julian Sayin has immaculate numbers. Number 1 overall in on-target rate by Sports Info Solutions. Of all FBS quarterbacks, nobody's more accurate than Julian Sayin. 27 to 4 TD to INT. He's quadrupled his big-time throws to turnover-worthy play rate. And Michigan may generate a pass rush, but Julian Sayin is only 2.3% turnover-worthy play rate with a pressured pocket. He has been excellent in a crowded pocket. And he dominates cover 3 and quarters, which is what Wink has been calling there for Michigan. So I understand I've called Ohio State to win this game now 5 years in a row. I think Ohio State minus 10 is the play. I like the over based on the fact I trust my sources. The Jeremiah Smith is going to be there, and this Ernest Hausman is truly a real problem about him sitting out for the Michigan defense.
Yeah, major injury watch there. Because I would be against you if I knew, but you probably wouldn't play minus 10 if Smith and Tate were out, right?
No.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a ground-based game, and it could be like 17 to 10, 17 to... Yeah, no way.
What else we got here? Pitt hosting Miami. Miami needs a lot of help. I mean, in the ACC, it's basically Virginia. If they win, they're in the ACC championship. They're 10-point favorites against Virginia Tech. And if SMU wins, they're in. They are 13.5-point favorites at Cal. You can use the quarterback run a bit against Virginia. That's what they're going to have to do. Drones is going to have a day running the ball. In regards, I don't have a strong feel there. Like I make it like 9. Usually in these spots, you get some inflation, like these must-win spots. Mm-hmm. I think we might be getting that with SMU. So I get SMU's playing better, and they're probably going to win this game. But this line's out to 13.5.
Yeah, should be 10.
Like they were just Virginia was 5, closed 5 at Cal, and Cal should have covered. SMU got recently outplayed by Syracuse with their backup at home. They gave up a billion yards to Stanford. You can move the ball through the air. I think it's a decent matchup for Cal because, one, Cal can't run the ball at all. Don't even try it. Well, you can't run on SMU. You got to throw. So JKS has got to avoid sacks, but you can throw the ball on SMU. And on the other side of the ball, you can run at Cal, but SMU can't really run it. The strength of Cal is their pass D. Now, Wilcox is gone. What effect does that have? I don't know. Maybe you get a coaching bump. Maybe the secondary weakens, but they're usually great as an underdog. I've always bet Wilcox is a double-digit dog. Part of that is they don't give up explosives through the air, so it's harder to build margin against them. I think this line's too high. I'm waiting for a 14 to pop on. Even at 13.5, I'll probably be on it small. This is just like, I mean, SMU, yeah, they destroyed Louisville. Louisville played, they were, by the way, they never even showed up. Their season ended the week before. And they were playing their backup quarterbacks, and they didn't have, Bell got hurt. Lacey got hurt. They were playing without Isaac Brown, Keywan Brown. I mean, their linebacker, it was a backup team. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think SMU's too expensive here. And then we have Miami at Pitt. Both teams need help. I guess you could argue if Miami wins, then they're in the discussion for an at-large at 10-2 with a win over Notre Dame.
Well, they just got
7-point favorites at Pitt.
They just got we're doing this right as the college football playoff bracket's going out. They just got seeded 12th. They moved up a spot. So yeah, they have a lot to play for here.
Where's Vandy?
14th.
Yeah, Vandy needs to beat Tennessee. We'll talk about that game in a minute and then get help.
So I think Pitt's got Miami's number though. I just look, Pitt dominates all run concepts. They should shut down the Hurricanes' rush attack that's outside the top 35 in success rate in line yards. The best way.
It's going to come down to Beck outdoors on the road where he's never been good.
Right.
Hitting explosives.
You have to attack Pitt deep. You said that before on our podcast. Like, you can't hit them short. You have to throw it over their head. Carson Beck, I mean, his offensive line's given him protection at least, so we can give him that. But, he's been fantastic against lesser defenses. But when he faces tough defenses, and consider this, he's got 9 INTs on the season. 6 of them came against the SMU and Louisville secondaries. That tells me when he gets an upgrade in ACC play to a different defense, he gets torn to shreds. I think that's bad news for him here.
Does that potentially happen to Heinschel, though? Because when he stepped up against Notre Dame and like this Miami D can get pressure, could the Miami defense wreck the Pitt offensive line? That's what I'm worried about, too.
Yeah, the Pitt.
Is this an under, maybe? I mean, it's scary with a Pitt under, but
I don't expect anything out of Miami at 35 degrees. I said 41 degrees on Sunday. It's now 35 for a high. I don't expect anything out of Miami.
Yeah, do both. And I would imagine Cristobal, maybe you see him be really conservative at times. Maybe Pitt knows that they want to be conservative with their young quarterback and not make a mistake earlier, trust their D. First half under, maybe a look. I could see this starting out slow.
I agree.
What's the number out there? Is it best number? Is there any wind? If there is wind, that would really help Pitt because it would dampen the explosives that you need to hit.
The first half number is plus 170 on Pitt, 3.5 and 26.5.
We're like a 27 there, but I think the first half under is worth
no
a
wind.
look.
0 wind.
BC favorite at Syracuse. That's hilarious. Penn State just taking money now every week. And they're on fire. Now they're 13.5-point favorites at Rutgers. You going to be back on your new love?
Yeah, I mean, you know how I roll, but
Oklahoma LSU total down to 36.5, and I agree with it.
Well, you don't think
how's LSU score?
Right? Yeah.
And then Oklahoma, if they get a lead, they're like, Mateer, don't make a mistake. We just need to win this game to go to college football playoff. They're just going to run it.
Yep.
Run it. Trust their D. I mean, the LSU offense is broken, and their offensive line is not going to be able to do anything here. Yeah. So, I mean, we saw that against Western Kentucky. Can't score at home against Western Kentucky. How are you going to score at Oklahoma? I know it's super low. Like, you got to worry about turnovers. With both these defenses can create turnovers, so like it doesn't take much to get over 36.5. But how this game doesn't end like 20-7 or 20-10?
Well, this one's got 20-mile-an-hour winds, and that's just straight winds, not gusts. Sustained.
And LSU can't run the ball.
Right.
Oklahoma can't really run the ball.
Right.
They've been better of late, but wow, this game could end like. That's what I'm afraid to lay it, because I mean, Oklahoma, say against Missouri. Missouri dropped the pass. They did nothing all game. They dropped the pass to cover.
Mm-hmm.
And just because Oklahoma, their offense isn't great, and they'll just shut it down and not. So, I don't know. Did you play Oklahoma?
Minus 9.5. I did.
I mean, I'm at like 11.
But I also said I don't know how LSU scores.
Their defense. It's got to be their defense or special teams.
I mean, it's the only way. But you don't think Mateer's not throwing the ball? There's just no way Mateer's throwing the ball here. I don't see that happening. I see a 2-possession lead and sitting on the ball.
Yeah, I think under's still good at I make it 35, but just seeing how it plays out. All right, let's talk Iron Bowl. Alabama, Auburn. Alabama 6-point favorites at Auburn. This is the first time since 2007 that the Iron Bowl will be played under the lights at Jordan-Hare. There have been some absolute classics. Saban has talked about it, the voodoo of Jordan-Hare. I mean, you just go back the last couple meetings at Auburn. They were huge dogs, double-digit dogs, 24-point dogs, and they lost 24-22 in a game they should have won. They lost 27-24. In 2019, they won 48-45. It's going to get weird. So, the question is, and Alabama's had their road woes. It's going on years now. I saw them lose to Florida State. Saw almost lose at Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Saw them arguably should have lost at South Carolina. Here's the Auburn defense is legit. And now the pass defense can be attacked a little more. You can't run on them. And Bama can't run the ball. So what this comes down to is how much havoc can the defensive line create for Auburn on passing downs. They need their DNs and company to just wreak havoc on Simpson. You're going to have the crowd noise. There's going to be known passing downs. because Alabama's not going to be able to run it. On the other side of the ball, you have you have wild cards with the Auburn offense. Right, this is kitchen sink game. You're going to probably get trick plays. You might get 3 quarterbacks. You know, they're going to have packages for Deuce Knight. Is Daniel starting? You could even see some Jackson Arnold. Kane Womack, the Alabama defensive coordinator, talked about that this week. He said he is expecting to maybe see 3 quarterbacks, maybe all of them on the field at the same time at one point. But Auburn's offense is improving. After they got rid of Hugh, they went to one play caller. There's one voice. They're getting the ball out quicker. They also replaced they lost their starting center, Connor Lew, probably playing the NFL. They tried a 17-year-old freshman. Did not go well. They have since moved Mason Murphy there, who's playing well at center. So the Auburn offensive line is trending up. The entire operation just looks cleaner. There's more communication. So I think that they can do some things, and they have some tricks up their sleeve. We've seen running quarterbacks give Alabama some issues in the past. At 6, I mean, I show some value on Auburn. Does this get to 7 is the question I'm asking myself. I don't think it does. The other question I'm asking myself, and this backfired for me against Oklahoma, is Alabama usually jumps out ahead of teams. Mm-hmm. So can I get a better number on Auburn live? Dangerous game to play at times. Also, Auburn using more tempo. I think that's one of the reasons why you like the over here.
I do like the over. I make this game 6, so it's been hard for me to take a side on 6, but this game is always close. It's like it's hard for me to see a world where Alabama is able to get a massive lead here and cover a touchdown, because
and who's Alabama blown out that's competent? Like nobody.
Well, first off, Alabama can't deal with mobile quarterbacks. Let's just we can sit here and talk all day about how Auburn's defense is going to shut down anything Alabama has to run. That's just a known fact because Alabama hasn't been able to run all year. It's been pathetic what they've put out there.
Yeah, and Auburn has a top 5 run game.
Right. So the way that they're going to have to attack is going to be
through the air.
Is through the air. And so that leads to Ty Simpson throwing, he's 25th in on-target rate. He'll have to hit Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams consistently. And Auburn's allowed a fair share of pass explosives this year. They're bottom 25 in broken and missed tackles. So that is going to be how Alabama gets down the field. I do like a prop in tight end Josh Cuevas having an anytime TD. He had a season-high 7 target against Oklahoma. His targets are going up. Something about Ty Simpson in the passing game is leaning towards his tight end here. I do like him for an anytime TD. I think it's 3-1 out there. On the other side of the ball, you have to talk about Deuce Knight. Now, I know it was Mercer. I know that. And you know what? Another thing about Deuce Knight is that of the 100-something yards that he ran, only 33 of them came on designed attempts. Does this kid run zone read? Because all of his yards came off of scrambles the other day against Mercer. He looks good on highlight film, but I don't know what we're going to get here. Do we consider him a mobile quarterback? Because that is how you hit Alabama hard. The Tommy Castellanos, the Lenoris Sellers, those are the quarterbacks that give Alabama issues. So 6 all-purpose TDs for Deuce Knight? Like, have they been saving him for this moment? I don't know. I do like over 46.5. I think Auburn is going to be able to generate something with Deuce Knight on the ground, which gives Alabama issues. And Ty Simpson has to throw. And that tells me that there's going to be more explosive plays and Alabama scoring because they are absolutely not running the ball.
Yeah, game flow wise, Alabama throwing a ton, Auburn using more tempo. They're going to have some tricks up their sleeves as well. It's also worth noting McPherson, their kicker, great story. He's been good of late. We saw him struggle in that Missouri game. I think he made 2 over 47 last week, so he's become more reliable, which Auburn needed. But the whole offense with the tempo, the offensive line changes, and just one voice, and getting the ball out quicker, simplifying things. Like, they had different play callers for every down. It was crazy. And then obviously Jackson Arnold wasn't the guy. So, Daniels is an upgrade over him. What else? Oregon at Washington. I took some Washington 7.5 earlier in the week. Look, this Oregon team, I've talked about it last week. They got the job done against USC. USC was missing so many key players on defense. Oregon's also beat up. Oregon got beat up during that game last week. We'll see who ends up playing. Injury reports can be huge in this game. But Washington, they were able to roll UCLA, and they sat everyone out that was dealing with injury. So it looks like Denzel Boston, good to go. Jonah Coleman, good to go. Most importantly, Carver Willis, Monroe Mills, when those guys were out this year, the Washington offense crumbled because they don't have any depth, especially, when they had Maximus McCree in there at left tackle, their offense turned to dust. I mean, you could just look at their offensive line on-off splits. If they have their offensive line in there, they could get Azzopardi back as well. I think they'll still have the backup center in because Hatchett has a cast. We'll see. But as long as they have the other 3 or 4, mainly Mills, Willis, I think their offensive line can hold up. And it's a different team at home. And Oregon's just beat up.
Yeah.
I think touchdown or above, Washington's going to put a scare into Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many pieces. I can't even begin to try to say I want either side until I know more things about Oregon, right? Is
It's
Decoring
hard to
more
do on a Tuesday right now.
Yeah, is Decoring more playing? I'd like to know that. I need that against Washington's secondary. But more importantly, what about their center? Iapani Laulu? I mean,
He's a stud.
Yeah, I mean, they got to have him too. So I'm reserving, but you're right. It's 7. I'm definitely looking Washington. It's a game that I make 6. The defensive interior for Oregon has had their issues. They are 113th in defensive stuff rate. What does that mean? That means they cannot control the line of scrimmage on, say, 3rd and 2, 4th and 1 when they desperately need that. They can't stop other teams.
Jonah Coleman.
Yeah, and Jonah Coleman should be able to expose that. So I'm going to sit back, but you're right. It's 7. It's definitely a look at Washington.
Interesting. Well, Wyoming took a ton of money. I mean, numbers-wise, I agree with that, but who wants to bet Wyoming right now on the island? Oof.
When did they last score?
I mean, it's embarrassing, the offense right now. Toledo at Central Michigan. So in the MAC, if you have Central Michigan futures.
Yeah, what are we doing with this?
So you got to root. The first thing you got to do is root for Eastern Michigan tonight, which is going on right now. 7-0 Eastern Michigan with the ball. So if that happens, let's see. So if Eastern Michigan wins, Bowling Green won. Northern Illinois, we'll say, beats Kent State. If Miami, we'll say Miami beats Ball State. So if Eastern Michigan wins and Central Michigan beats Toledo, it's Miami, Central Michigan, I believe. But it might come down to the Sports Source rating score. If Ohio loses to Buffalo, then it's Central Michigan versus Miami. So, but if Western Michigan comes back and wins this game, Central Michigan needs to win, and they probably need Miami to lose to Ball State. So Central Michigan futures are all they got to beat Toledo. I mean, but they're pretty much dependent on Eastern Michigan. So you'll know by the time you're listening to this podcast. I mean, it seems like a Jason Candle type of game to lose.
Yep.
You want to run at Toledo, and that's what Central Michigan wants to do. Do you have everything there? I think they're 10.5 point favorites.
Well, Toledo is number 1 in the nation defensive passing success rate, but they're 23rd in rush. And I understand the strength schedule is like out of control, so don't pay attention to that. What I'm saying is defensively, they are much better against the pass than they are the run.
Always.
Yeah.
So that's the way Central Michigan can attack them on the ground. That's all they want to do.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think
numbers-wise, I'm close, but
yeah, I think I'm not going to be hedging. At least I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a hedge in on Central Michigan against Toledo. I mean, we only have like 20 to 1s, 25 to 1s that are out there. It's kind of one of those tickets where you got to let it ride to see if they actually win the championship game. That's different though for Southern Miss. I am sticking by it. I think they beat Troy. Numbers up to 6.5. I think they've just been screwing around the last couple of weeks. I'll be honest with you.
Can they just turn it on? The other thing is Crowder looked great last week for Troy, but it was Georgia State. So how much can you take from that?
Right.
He was a disaster the week before, but does their offense have more juice now? That's a tricky game, but you're going to let it ride. I'm going
to let it ride. If you see a 1-unit play on Troy money line come across, that may be just, I don't know, that may be nerves or anxiety. I don't know, but I'm going to let the 40 to 1 ride. I feel confident Southern Miss has got this game.
By the way, all right, it's that time of year where we have a great deal on Action Pro as part of our Black Friday sale, which is live now. Sign up for an annual subscription and get 50% off your first 3 months. Action Pro users get real-time alerts as soon as experts like myself, Breeze, Duck, Collin track picks in the app. Without Action Pro, you'll need to wait 30 minutes to get alerts and risk not getting the best of the number. You also get real-time money percentages to see where the smart money is flowing and access to our NFL player prop projections powered by the GOAT, Sean Kerner. And soon, Nick Giffen will fire up his unbelievable men's college basketball player prop projections. The deal is over soon, so go to actionnetwork.com/pro to sign up for an annual subscription and your first 3 months 50% off. That's actionnetwork.com/pro. All right, some trash. This is the last weekend of trash. 43-38, 53.1%.
You don't want to have a trash conference championship weekend like Conference USA trash?
I might. It depends what we get. There might be some next week. We will break down every single conference championship game. The group of 5 guys will do theirs as well. Make sure you check out their episode out as well. So trash, I've already mentioned it. Purdue on the number. Sorry, you got to do it.
Yeah.
I'm looking in the face of Sig again. 959 bad beat. Call in if I'm wrong, which have been a lot too wrong too often lately. Sam Houston. We're betting Sam Houston plus 10.5. I make it 8.5.
Yeah, I think I'm joining you. I really like the way they played lately.
They're trying still.
I make it 8. I'm in.
And here's the thing. FIU, huge moment for their program last week. Going to a bowl. Now they're going to the empty stadium, not even on campus, to play Sam Houston State. They're already clinched a bowl. They beat Liberty in overtime. They beat Jacksonville State in thrilling fashion. Easily could have lost both. This is sleepy spot to the max.
Yeah, 100% agree here. They've been playing it tough, too.
Eat them up, Cats.
Yeah, they finally got their first couple wins of the season.
This is the first time I'm betting them this year. First and last.
Wow. You waited till this?
Yeah. Let's see.
Let's roll then.
Yeah. I haven't bet them. All right. Put it on the agree. Sam Houston State. What else? Other trash. Temple. I'm going to wait to see where this goes. But a couple things I talked about earlier. And then Cal. It's too high. I think it's a decent matchup. All the pressure's on SMU here. I think you'll get a good effort from Cal.
I like to see Tulsa steaming. As a matter of fact, let's pause that. I'm going to save that for my overdog.
Before we go 3 and out, Colin, got to talk Arkansas football. Missouri at Arkansas. Every year you just tell us to bet Missouri. Has anything changed?
Nothing has changed except there are dynamics within the Arkansas team, which is half the team is given up. I can fully confirm kids aren't showing up on time. Kids are not giving effort. Everybody's done. Bags are being packed. Letters are being signed. Petrino's looking for a job. And oh, by the way, now that Morris has taken the job over at Oklahoma State, it looks like I'm going to get stuck with my Silverfield. I want to throw up in my mouth. Anyways, so yeah, Arkansas. Listen, it's a double motivation, right? These players played really hard for Petrino to get some value. They're done with that. They gave up in the second half against Texas. Missouri, in case you're new to the show and you don't hear me say this every year, Eli Drinkowitz hates the University of Arkansas. He's originally from Fort Smith. He's a Gus Malzahn guy back early in his career. He's very tight with Gus Malzahn, and the treatment that we gave Gus Malzahn back in 2006, 2007, where he basically quit and took the same position at the University of Tulsa, speaks volumes about how he was hazed, he was bullied, and the University of Arkansas will forever pay to Gus Malzahn and all of his disciples, and that includes Eli Drinkowitz. So I expect Missouri to run wild on us.
There you have it. Colin on Arkansas football for the final time this year.
Yeah, it's final time. We're on to baseball season.
All right, second down, favorite overdog. I'm going to go South Carolina. Talked about it earlier. I also don't mind a look at Illinois. I think they're cheap in a good spot. Northwestern just clinched bowl eligibility. Could buy low on Illinois after a bad loss against Wisconsin. I think that should be above a touchdown. But let's go with South Carolina. Where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tulsa. I think this number should be steaming in the market. They are playing at another level than what their actual skill set is. They've been trying to win week after week. They've had some covers. They just beat Army by 1. I don't think they're going to take their foot off the gas here against UAB, a team where teammates are knifing each other, and they rank 136 in almost every single defensive metric. So give me Tulsa, swallow the points.
Army, interesting spot. Generally, like, they lose, they get upset. They go on the road as a dog. They're going to cover, right? Like, That's what they beat Kansas State after they lost to Tarleton State on the road. Like that's just
Right.
what Army does. But in order to bet Army, you got to fade UTSA in the Alamo Dome. And if I was power rating teams in the country, it would be 1, Ohio State, 2, UTSA when they're at home. So do I want to get in front of that train? I don't know. 3, whoever's playing UMass, sadly for me. Any other games I wanted to mention before we get to our underdog money line play? We've been hot with these lately. Hit another one last week. BYU win. They're in to the Big 12 championship game. Then probably got to win the Big 12 to go to the College Football Playoff. Texas Tech just got to beat West Virginia. 24-point favorites in Morgantown. They're in. If you want Utah to get in, Utah's got to win, and they need Texas Tech to lose, actually. And then BYU to win. And then that's how some of the tiebreakers were. Arizona State's still alive. But it looks like we're going to get BYU and Texas Tech, a rematch from earlier this season. Notre Dame, Stanford late night. Man, if that steams, I might have to look at Stanford. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it does not
ruin
get
my playoff bet. It's going to be my juice Notre Dame playoff bet that I made at the beginning of the season.
Here's one I'll mention, another weird one. Oh, well, Kennesaw. Kennesaw controls its own destiny. They are at Liberty, who was the conference favorite, who did nothing. Now they can. This is their conference championship game now for Liberty. Liberty 2.5-point dog. I make it a pick. If I want a 3 there. Kennesaw should have lost to Missouri State last week. And then you have Western Kentucky at Jacksonville State. Western Kentucky 2.5 to 3-point favorites, or 3 at DraftKings. The winner of that game goes. The loser could also go and then be on the road for the conference championship game, assuming that Kennesaw loses at Liberty. So there's some other scenarios in there, but anything in Conference USA?
Nothing in Conference USA.
And then American, by the time you listen to this, did I even talk about Thursday Night Lights?
We can do it.
Out of whack. I'm sick. I'm on so much medicine to get through this.
We can
Thursday
do it
Night
now.
Lights, we have Navy at Memphis. Memphis is a 5.5-point home favorite at DraftKings. Navy needs to win, and then they need to hope North Texas or Tulane loses. That's very unlikely. And then because they're probably going to be behind them. Were they behind them in the College Football Playoff? Was North Texas ranked?
They weren't ranked. Tulane got it.
North Texas wasn't?
Didn't see it.
What would happen is North Texas would go because they beat Navy. So like Tulane would go because they're...
I don't know where the committee's getting this Tulane thing. I don't know where this committee is getting the Tulane thing. They're still slotted in as a 12.
So, yeah, it looks like we're going to get North Texas. And, I mean, maybe Navy beats Memphis and then they get ranked somehow. But I don't see it.
I like Memphis in the game.
Memphis can stop the run. That's the strength of their day.
Yeah, and I mean, look, Navy needs a lot of help. Charlotte's got to win over Tulane. Temple's got to win over North Texas. Not saying it's not impossible, but, and this is Blake Horvath did lead this offense against Memphis last year and put up 56 points. But the problem is the Memphis D is 18th in rushing success rate. They're average versus power concepts, but they're excellent against counter, which is what Horvath really runs with Navy here. The place to attack Memphis is through the air. So maybe some Horvath passing props. I'm not sure if I want to get into that with a Navy quarterback. But they don't pass much. And Memphis, that's just the way you have to attack Memphis. Now, Brandon Lewis should be completely healthy. Like, he hobbled around on his ankle, but he had 74 yards on the ground against East Carolina in their last game. So I think he is finally back to full strength. Navy's pretty much mid-FBS and defending zone read concepts that Memphis is going to run. But they're 134th in tackling. They're bottom 20 in defensive quality drives and finishing drives. Memphis offense is the opposite of that. They're top 15 in quality drives and finishing drives. So Memphis will create methodicals, and they will get 6 on the board almost every time. So, yeah, Memphis all the way.
All right. I would agree with you. I think Memphis is a side too. I think it should be like closer to a touchdown. Navy will be feisty, but I think Sam Houston's run day is built to stop this. All right, we got Arizona, Texas, and Sam Houston State. What a collection. All right, I got to put that Sam Houston State bet in. Head to head, I got Miss State. You got Ole Miss. I got New Mexico. You got Sam Houston.
No, I got
San Diego State.
Aztec fast, baby.
Love it. That's
I think you're gonna love my underdog. We ready for that?
Oh yeah, we didn't. I'm sorry. I'm sick. I've been up for days. I need to sleep. It's third down. Our favorite underdog moneyline parlay. I'm gonna go.
Did you take this from me? I'd be surprised. I'm in the Mountain West. Where'd you go?
No, I'm going Washington. Just a lot of injury uncertainty. Washington at home when healthy. It's a different team. I think they might be healthier here. Give me trust and fish.
I am gonna go with the hottest team in the Mountain West. I'm gonna take Nevada money line against UNLV. UNLV traveling up
freezing cold.
UNLV is not making the championship game. They lost to Boise. They lost to New Mexico. They're so out on all the tiebreakers. There's no reason they need this game. They're going up to sleepy old Reno, the world's smallest little town, whatever it is. And what's Nevada been doing lately? They beat Wyoming in Laramie. They beat San Jose 55-10. Who's this team? Who is this team? They were just in last place. I'm taking Nevada. Give me the pack. Wolf pack, baby.
Nevada, Washington, West Coast, money line, parlay. Sure you don't want to change it to Arkansas?
0.0%.
All right. There will be some weird results this week. It's been kind of a boring couple of weeks for college football as far as upsets. I think that's changing this week. Like,
you call an Iron Bowl?
Auburn wins. Auburn wins.
What is the one result on the board that would shock you the most? Mine would be Purdue winning, right? That would shock me more than anything. Is there anything realistically? That's not going to happen. Is there anything realistically we could see?
I mean, it wouldn't stun me if Michigan won, if the receivers are out at home in weather. Oh, by the way, we didn't talk Vandy, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Our Heisman ballots just came in.
Yes.
I would argue why is Pavia not getting more love for what he's done?
Do you think it's a stigma? Do you think
I know you don't want to talk about it. You're the anti-Pavia.
I don't mind talking about it. I mean, you and I are both Heisman voters. We can talk about this. I don't have a problem. You know me, it's all stats based. Like for me, I want to see the best quarterback play. Like I voted Jaden Daniels the year before he won it. I want the best numbers.
I voted Genty last year.
Yeah. I voted Genty too. Yes, I did over Travis Hunter. So the thing is, I'm not going to fold in and take what everybody else is taking. Now, if Diego can make it up there from a passing yards, rushing yards, all-purpose TDs, MVP of the team, that to me, that's Heisman-worthy stuff. So if that's what it is, yeah, I would vote for him. But in this game, like, I think Tennessee.
Well, here it is. It's two offenses that are electric, two defenses that have holes. I think Vandy's slightly better, but you have to throw in home field. It's juiced. I mean, I'm around like 2.2. So at 3, yeah, I mean, I guess I would a small lean to take the 3.
Yeah.
At 3.5, I'm in on Vandy, but I don't know. This is going to be a fun coin flip game. Pavia just covers every week. It's insane.
There's a reason this number has steamed over the key of 65.
It's hard to see many stops.
I mean, Vandy should be able to run against Tennessee all day. The Vols are 105th in defensive rushing success rate. Cedric Alexander is the one that uses man and counter, and that's what Tennessee struggles to. They can't defend man blocking assignments whatsoever. So I think Cedric Alexander is going to have a big day. But then the Tennessee passing attack, it's this Vandy secondary. I mean, I've used this handicap in so many Vandy games. That secondary is beyond leaky. It's taking on water. Vandy's 64th in coverage, but they're 97th in creating a contested catch. They don't make it hard for anybody, and that's not good against Tennessee's offense. And Vandy's one of the worst defenses in FBS in defending pass explosives. This is up and down.
It's going to be a fun game.
Yeah.
To watch. I'll tell you that.
I mean, maybe you don't take a side with a total of 65.5, which I totally think I should take the over. I just wish I had 65. I don't know why you take a side in this.
Great trading game.
Mm-hmm.
Live betting game. Should be back and forth and very fun. Vandy wins. They need help to get in. Tennessee's already out. They can play spoiler.
Here's a win. Here's a team that I'm not going to be shocked if they win, and they will be in my round robin. By the way, there's no round robin video this week because it's everybody's going to be off for Thanksgiving. But Oklahoma State as a 14.5 point underdog to Iowa State.
They've been close.
Yeah, that is going to be in all my round robins for everybody out there.
My round robin candidates so far, without getting crazy.
Let's hear
Detroit, maybe. Wisconsin, hottest team in the country. Wake. I think Wake beats Duke. Liberty, Florida State. Those are small ones. As far as bigger potential dogs, let's go through the board here because we can try to. East Carolina, FAU. That's a corpse bowl. FAU lost in heartbreaking fashion. Can't get to a bowl. ECU was in the race. They got blown out.
Sam Houston, FIU. Sam Houston. We mentioned
Sam Houston for sure.
Yeah.
Like FIU just might not get off the bus. Like they're already bowl eligible. It was huge for that program last week. What's another high variance game? I mean, Pitt, Mario gonna Mario out in the cold.
Yeah,
could see that.
degrees. Come on.
Something tell one of Virginia or SMU. I mean, I could see Virginia losing somehow.
The ACC just can't. They just can't win and move on.
They can't keep everything straight. I did like that SMU title bet that you made.
That number is completely mispriced, by the way.
Agreed. Central Michigan.
Yeah,
I could see just because it's Candle. I mean, no one loses more as a double-digit favorite, but I do think like Bama or something. There's going to be something crazy that happens this week. If you figure it out, if you knew ahead of time, you get rich. All right, that'll do it for us. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. We're very happy to get everything out to you ahead of time, even if it cost me my health for the week. It's a labor of love. I'm going to go sleep for the next 40 hours. Hopefully I can wake up and remember how to pick some winners. Let's have a week. You know that next week we're going to cover all the conference championships. You know that we're going to crush bowl season. Cannot wait for that. Thanks to Colin for joining me. Thanks to our producer, David, on the back end. We're very thankful to all of you for listening. Be even more grateful if you could subscribe, tell a friend, tell them. You know the drill. Be a 5-star review if you can. But enjoy the time with your family, your friends, or if you're just by yourself, like I'll be, plenty of time just eating food, watching football. It's a great week. We love you guys. You make the show. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Until next time, we'll catch y'all later. Cheers.
Peace out.